Broncos release Russell Wilson, which we all knew was going to happen, but it's going to be official on the 13th. But they notified him that he is gone, so he can start talking to teams today. He can't sign him with the team until the 13th, but he can start talking to teams. Not that they officially gave him the okay. By releasing him, the Broncos will take on an NFL record $85 million in dead money. For context, Cricket, that is more than that's more dead money than the last two records combined.
You know how bad you gotta suck for them to be willing to eat $85 million just so you can't play for them next year.
And not only that, it's not only do we not want you to play for us, we'll pay you. We're paying you to go play for someone else.
We'll pay you to go try to beat us. Well, literally, we're going to pay you so you'll go play for somebody else, so we know that's an automatic win for us.
Oh my God, this is, and it's crazy. This is the Super Bowl winning quarterback too. I'm so glad they didn't win that second one against New England. No, obviously, of course, because
I'm obvious, but you just don't want him to be able to like he's automatic Hall of Famer and all this nonsense.
Yeah, two-time Super Bowl champ and back-to-back Super Bowl champ.
They would have wound up giving him the MVP in that thing too.
Oh yeah. So. Colin Cowherd, of course, has a terrible take.
Oh God, what is this idiot talking about now?
This was back when the trade happened. He says the Denver Broncos have won the NFL offseason. They should be Super Bowl favorites for the next several years.
He actually might be being kind of funny there, but
Denver is how you build a franchise in 1 year. This is back in May of 2022. Like, this is how wrong he is.
Okay, I didn't see the date on it. I was like, did he just come out with this yesterday or something? And he's like, oh, buddy, you can find these. These are all over the internet of him just.
I know, freezing cold takes. Freezing cold takes.
Yeah, I mean, okay, freezing cold. I'll follow them. But yeah, you can find these all throughout Colin Cowherd's entire career. We thought it was pretty admirable that he could do a 3-hour show by himself. Never mind the fact that 2.5 hours of that were bullshit. Hate Colin Cowherd. He's a dipshit.
So let's get into some of this though. So this part is crazy. So it says, so people are wondering like, okay, if there's 80, because usually if someone has 85 million in dead cap, you always hear me when we go over this stuff. I go, look, you can't cut this player because you owe them more. Like you'd be cutting them for nothing, right? It'd be like if you owed, if you'd save 30 million in cap space, but it's a $40 million dead cap hit. It's like, well, you're not really saving any money,
right?
You're cutting them for nothing until the following season. So, but these quarterback contracts are everyone's got a different one, and they're all crazy. And remember, it was like a 5-year, $242 million extension. It wasn't even a sign. It was an extension on his current contract. I think it ended up being a 7-year deal. So from what he had remaining on his contract with Seattle. So here's why they chose to do it now. They just decided to rip off the Band-Aid and do it now instead of next year. Because if they did it next year, it's still an $86.6 million dead cap. It's an $85 million dead cap this year. So you would have to pay him his salary this year. And then, oh, by the way, it's still 86.6 next year. So it's like, we might as well just get it done with now because it's going to be even worse next year. And we would have had to pay him this year's salary on top of it.
Yeah. We'd have to let him play with us this year. So yeah, I might as well just get that out of the way and go ahead and start working for the future. Because this guy, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I remember somebody falling from grace. So I guess him and Deshaun Watson kind of 1A and 1B. At least Russ did get a bunch of allegations against him.
I was going to ask you, the only other this might be the worst trade in NFL history, but people are pointing to the Deshaun Watson one.
No, that one's up there.
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, just because they guaranteed that.
But at least the Deshaun Watson still has a chance to pay off. You know what I mean? Like if he comes out.
Do you feel that way? Do you feel like that's going to happen? I don't.
I don't think it's going to, but I'm saying that there's still a chance. We know there's no way this is going to work out.
You're telling me there's a chance.
But dude, look at this. Seahawks got Noah Fant, who ended up got some yards. Was a good player for them. Shelby Harris, Drew Lock won them some games, right? Like, I mean, and then they got a first, a second, a fifth, and a first and a second.
Hey,
And what
Browns.
they don't show you about this is that Broncos got Russell Wilson in this deal, right? But they also had to pay him $242 million.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good call, Colin Cowherd. They're definitely the way to build a franchise. Here's Browns fans on Deshaun Watson.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh my God. Patriot 465 says, I hope New England gets him. God, I'll be miserable. Actually, I probably like that than some of the people that they're talking about getting. I
No.
swear, if New England drafts JJ McCarthy 3rd overall, I'm done being a fan. I'm leaving. I'm leaving the
Dude,
fan base.
I've seen more and more people, like people that posted, and granted, some of them with some credibility, some of them maybe none at all. But there's a lot of people that are listing JJ McCarthy as their top quarterback on their board.
I know. And if the Patriots do
I
that to
don't
me,
I
I'm
don't
leaving.
understand it. I understand the record in college and all the different things like that. He did have a good combine. He threw the ball well, looked pretty good out there. And maybe we're just missing it. Maybe we've not watched enough football. Because honestly, most of those Michigan games are pretty boring, where they're running the ball 3 yards in a cloud of dust and just whipping the shit out of whoever. There's very few Michigan games the last couple of years that have been worth watching. So maybe we just haven't seen enough of him. But I don't see it, man. I just don't feel
I
like
will
that.
give away my custom Air Forces, my Robert Kraft custom Air Forces that have never been worn, that only X amount have been made during that year. I will give those away. I'll burn them, actually. We'll just light them on fire if they do this to me.
Burn them. Don't burn them. We'll auction them off to somebody and we'll give it some to the chat. Let's don't just burn them.
Hey, wife wants me to make some coffee for her real quick, so I'm gonna go do that. Just talk with the chat or pull up whatever you want to pull up. We'll continue this Russell Wilson stuff because there's some interesting things in the numbers here, but I gotta step away for a second.
Okay. He said, look, he said, Cricket, Peyton Manning arm literally stopped working mid-season. He got benched. Yeah, Peyton, well, that was a lot to do. I think that he was older and he had the neck injury stuff and everything too. The reason, let's be very clear, the reason Peyton won that last Super Bowl is because they had one of the best defenses in NFL history. There's a reason that he didn't win the Super Bowl MVP in that game. It went to Von Miller because that defense was absolutely disgusting right there. So yeah, Peyton toward the end, you see that a lot with those quarterbacks, man. You saw it with Drew Brees. You see a lot of times those aging quarterbacks. Tom, you never saw it with Tom, but the other guys, you see them kind of fall off a cliff there, and it's kind of, it's kind of crazy how fast it happens with some of these quarterbacks. How fast their talent just seems to be gone. It's almost like Space Jam, like they just take their talent from them or something. And like you said, JJ McCarthy is going in the 3rd round. Yeah, I don't see any reason he should go any higher than that. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people last few days really kind of putting him way up on their board and expecting him to be a 1st round pick. I just don't see it. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not like I'm some savant that knows all of how these guys are going to play in the league and how good they're going to be. But I don't see it with JJ McCarthy. I don't see the physical attributes that really lead to being an elite NFL quarterback. But then again, Tom Brady and Brock Purdy didn't really have those elite attributes that people look for in an NFL quarterback. There's a reason they went so low in the draft. So JJ McCarthy might, the jury's still out. He's obviously not played a down of NFL football yet. Had a good combine the other day. So we'll have to see how that polishes up and where he winds up landing, if it's a good spot for him with a good QB coach and all that stuff. So the jury's still out there. And Cricket, are you okay with Texas starting Ewers over Arch Manning again? They already announced it. Maybe Arch sucks. He might, man. I don't know. I'm fine with Quinn Ewers starting. I don't know if that guy decided he was going to come back to Texas. I don't really see any reason why you wouldn't bring that guy back and let him start. I'm sure Arch Manning's going to be a great player, but at the same time, you got a guy that's been there, a veteran that's been there for several years, won a lot of football games for you. He's a gutty guy. He's played hurt. I know he's had a couple of shoulder injuries, thing like that, but when that guy can be out there, they basically have to pull him off the field to keep him from playing. So, I mean, he's a stud. I like Quinn Ewers. I think he's going to be one of the leading guys for Heisman Trophy going into the season. Texas is supposed to be a very good team. They got that move coming to the SEC. I'm fine with starting Quinn Ewers over Arch Manning. Like I said, when Quinn decided to come back to school, I think that that pretty much made that decision up right there. And I'm kind of surprised maybe Arch didn't look going somewhere else, but Texas can still be his spot where he's going to take over. Ewers got 1 year left, so if he wants to sit around, and if Ewers struggles a little bit, you might see Arch get in there early on. I don't think they're going to. I think Texas is going to be good again next year. But I'm fine with them starting Ewers over Arch Manning. I think they should. I think that's the smart football decision. Super James says, Father Time, undefeated, never lost. That's right, man. That's right. Oh, sorry, y'all. If Manning was good, he wouldn't be at Texas. Bama tried to sign Manning. Everybody tried to sign Arch Manning, man. Everybody was after that guy. You have all the different stuff that surrounds that with being a Manning and those things. And so, everybody was trying to sign that guy, but we don't know. And maybe he's maybe the jury's still out. There's a reason that Quinn Ewers, who is a great quarterback, it's not like Quinn Ewers is a bad quarterback that's beating Arch Manning out here. I mean, this is a guy that's been one of the top quarterbacks in college football the last couple of years. He got a victory over Alabama. They were beating Alabama before he got hurt in that game last year. So he was dueling Bryce Young head to head and handling business, was playing better than him in that spot. So I have no problem with Quinn Ewers being the starter at Texas. I really do not. I think the Arch Manning time will come, or maybe it won't. I don't know. We'll wait and see. That kid's got a lot of pressure to live up to right there. So we'll just have to kind of see how that goes. But I was looking at some of the free agency signing in the NFL and looking at some of the big moves, and we wanted to grade. Mel Kiper's grading the free agency signings right now, and looked at some of the guys that had the top combine workouts. Look at my guy Jalen Wright, man. Impressed scouts at the NFL Combine with a 4.38 40-yard dash. So Kiper had him number 4 on his running back board. Not an overwhelmingly great running back board in this thing. You look right there, his top 3 looks like Jonathan Brooks out of Texas, who tore his ACL back in November, so he hasn't even been able to work out yet. You got Trey Benson from Florida State and Audric Estime from Notre Dame, but it looks like he had Jalen Wright at number 4 on the board. But it looks like Jalen Wright had a big-time combine right there. He wound up running a 4.38 40-yard dash, which was second amongst running backs. Put him an 11'2" broad jump, which was best amongst running backs. And then had a 38-inch vertical, which was in the top 5. So those are stellar numbers right there for that guy. I mean, he really, really is and Estime ran a 4.7 140. So it looks like Jalen Wright, who rushed for 1,013 yards and just 137 carries last season, is now firmly in the mix to be the top back off the board in April's draft. Kiper has a 3rd round grade on him now. So it looks like we're not expecting any running backs. I'm sure somebody will wind up taking a chance on somebody they feel good about that will fit to their system. But it looks like that nobody's expecting any running backs to be taken in the first 2 rounds of the draft. Like I said, not an overwhelmingly great running back class. You don't have anybody like Bijan like you had last year. That's just a surefire number 1 guy off the board for that position. So you don't have any of those. Still kind of up in the air there. But if you can find the bet, don't be afraid to sprinkle a little bit on Jalen Wright right now before it gets too much more steam. You get Jalen Wright, try to bet him to be the first running back off the board in the draft. I think you probably get, probably plus 300-400 on that anyway. I think that's good value right there because it looks like it is increasingly becoming a better chance that he might be the top guy off the board there. Some of the other guys that had good combines. So yeah, that's what's going on there. I had an article pulled up, some of the free agency picks for this that it's already happened this year from Mel Kiper. I was trying to see where I had that at. I thought I had that pulled up. There it is. Prospects who most helped their draft. No, that's a different one. Never mind. Anyways though. So yeah, there's some guys that made some big time moves this weekend at the Combine. Chiefs franchise tag Snead. Okay, I think that's a good move if that happened, Loki, because that guy was definitely a big part of that defense. We talked about that being one of the best defenses that Patrick Mahomes has ever had in his career there, and that guy was a big part of that. Big part of that. Not afraid to step up and put his nose in there in the run game. Solid cover guy. So I think that was probably the best. That's probably the guy they needed to look at to franchise tag there. And just see if he has another solid year, man. I'd almost pay that man if he has another year like he had this year, because that guy was very, very solid for the Super Bowl champion Chiefs this year. Let's see here what we got on the what happened last night on the ice. We went 2-2 on the ice last night, so let's pull up and recap a little bit here and see what happened. We got a big slate tonight in the NHL, man. A real big slate tonight. I love Tuesdays. Last night here's one of our wins right here. We had the over in the Golden Knights Blue Jackets game. Blue Jackets handled this one. We talked about it the other day on Sunday on Smoke the Spread. I said this could be a good spot for the Blue Jackets. They were plus 150 at the time on the money line. There's a baby. But they were plus 150.
Hi, Cricket.
Hey there, darling. How you doing this morning? Hope everything is all right. Which one is that? Is that
coffee and hey, here's a baby.
Right. Yeah, usually the way it goes. Which one is that? Is that Phoenix or Scotland this morning?
Ooh, it's Scotland. Jeez, dude.
Scotland. Okay. Hungry this morning.
Yeah. Well, I was like, do you have time to feed one of the babies before you have to go? I go, no, but I'm going to try, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying here, doing what I can do. Doing what I can do. We
I can't believe you talked Tom Brady without me.
Hey, it was their fault, man. They threw Peyton out there, and we just kind of started rolling with it. We were talking about all the quarterbacks that just kind of fell off at the end of their career, and then the one guy that did not. So that other guy can still go out there. He's still running faster 40s than he ran at the combine 25 years ago.
I know, crazy, right?
It is madness.
Real quick,
man.
before you get into hockey.
You're good, man. I was just trying to fill time until you got back.
So these are the largest single season dead cap hits in NFL history. Russell Wilson, $49.6 million, which will be next year's dead cap hit. He's also on there.
$85 million this year and $49 next year.
No, $85 million over 2 years. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, number 4, he's the number 1 and the number 4. So this year's $35.4 million is going to be this is going to be number 4 overall, and then next year's is going to be number 1. It's just absolutely insane.
That is crazy.
And then where is it at? Oh, here we go. So the Broncos are releasing him. We'll start here. The Broncos aren't taking on $85 million dead cap hit this year. They won't release him until it won't become official until March 13th. And it's for 2 reasons. So this way, March 13th is like whatever, a new season, new league year, whatever. Yeah, after the 13th is when they can start releasing players. And if you release players, it still counts to this year, but each team gets a handful of what they call is post June 1st release. So that when you see someone say post June 1st, this team is releasing this person as a post June 1st release. What that means is after the 13th, teams can do that, but it won't become official like on the books until after June 1st. And the reason why the teams do that is, one, they don't want to wait all the way till June 1st to have to release some of these guys when they know they're going to release them. The reason why they wait till after June 1st is because that's when after June 1st, you can, if you release a player, you can spread the money out between this year and next year. It's just the way their system works out. So you can spread it over 2 seasons instead of 1. Because if they didn't, $85 million would have to come out of this season. So, and then the reason why each team gets a handful of these post June 1st releases is because it also helps the player, because the player now can go sign with another team. Whereas if you had to wait till June 1st, they couldn't technically even talk to another team until June 1st. You know what I mean? Okay. Or after June 1st. So, I mean, because if you have to wait till June 1st, you've already missed a huge chunk of the season. You know what I mean? Like
OTA's either started by then or about to within a week or so of that time.
Yeah, and you couldn't even get a playbook. You can't get anything, right? So that it's kind of a win-win for both organization and player. So that's why they do that.
Yeah.
Also, by them waiting until the 13th, that's when Russell Wilson's bonus kicks in, his $22 million option bonus, which they have to pay. Right. But since it's a bonus, it's like guaranteed money. Bonuses gets ranked or gets treated the same as like guaranteed money. And so with that guaranteed money, you can kind of when you give it as a bonus, you can move it around easier. So when you make a contract, there's like certain years that are already set in stone of what's going to be paid what. But when you decide, that's why you always see like, oh, so and so, decided to help the team out and take a $20 million sign-on bonus. And push some money away to clear up cap space for this season. That's just saying they're giving them some guaranteed money up front that wasn't guaranteed, and then now that way they can push that to the end of the contract. So that here we have the $22 million option allows them to move $17.6 million of it to be next year's cap. That's why this year he's taken a $35 million cap hit, but almost $50 million next year. It's because that's the way that they moved it around. Instead of it being more even,
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so you'd be like, well, shouldn't it be $42.5 million both years? No, they actually moved the money around. So they did that. And then
Millie AK, Russell Wilson to LIV.
I saw that. That was funny. So yeah, even though they owe him, dead cap is different than what he's still owed. He's still owed. I mean, whatever they guaranteed in his contract and whatever they haven't paid him yet, he's still owed that. But the cap, when you see dead cap, that just means that's money that they still have to account for on their books. So they could have already paid him all his guarantee. Let's say Russell Wilson was guaranteed $150 million. I don't remember exactly what it was. But if they just made it all a sign-in bonus and gave it to him on day one, they wouldn't have to pay Russell anything anymore, like actually cut him a physical check. They would still have to account for that money on their books over the next few years. So when you see dead cap, that means, hey, this is going to hit our cap. Doesn't mean they actually owe him money. Here, Denver actually does still owe Russell Wilson money. So Denver will pay Russell $39 million this year, no matter what. If he decides to play for another team, he could take a veteran minimum. And why wouldn't you? Because Denver still owes him that money no matter what. No one's going to give him more than $39 million. So odds are Russell Wilson's going to sign for the vet minimum, which means Denver doesn't have to pay him the $1.21 million. So like, let's say the Steelers signed Russell Wilson to $10 million this year. So then Denver wouldn't have to pay $39 million. They would have to pay $29 million. But why would they do that? And why would Russ want his team to do that when Russ is going to get the money no matter what? So might as well take the very minimum he can to help his new team out to use that money elsewhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. It does make sense. I do. I understand.
So odds are he's going to end up signing a vet minimum contract elsewhere. I mean, all this stuff is crazy, man. It's unprecedented. It's new. This is crazy amount of money. You've got. So let's just say the cap stays. It's going to go up. Let's just say the cap stays where it's at now, right? Roughly $250 million. That means next year, 1/5 of their cap space is going to a player that's not even on their team anymore.
Golly, that's nuts, man.
1/5, dude.
I'm saying that's how bad you must know you're a bad football player. They're willing to pay you that much money to play for somebody else.
And still, even with the cap going up next year, it's still going to be like 17%, 16, 17, 18% of your cap space is going to a player that's not on your team.
That's nuts. Did you hear the breaking Caleb Williams news? Buku sent me this.
No.
Buku sent me this yesterday, man. Check that out. Pretty nuts, man. Caleb Williams now says he won't sign an NFL contract unless it's with an MLB team. I know my worth. It's about $700 million playing QB for the Dodgers.
What?
Exactly. It's being funny, Will. It's being funny. It's just basically saying he's full of shit, man.
Well, yeah, we all know that.
We already knew that, man. Yeah, no. He that was that fake Adam Schefter account yesterday. But yeah, Caleb Williams, I think he's another guy you're going to wind up spending a lot of dead money on that you wind up paying him and have to decide that's not really your guy. It may not happen to the rookie contract. It may be later, but I don't see this guy being.
I don't think he's going to pan out just because he hangs onto the ball too much. Way too long.
I think he gets way too in his feels.
That too.
That's what I think.
But yeah, that wraps